Hey everybody, it's Corey with CVMA, and today we're here for class number 5, I believe, of our live streaming classes. This one's a pretty different, well, I don't want to say different one, but it's a unique one in that we're going to tie this in with our Wednesday class to do a 2-part series on self-defense. So today is going to focus on defensive fundamentals, concepts, and we're going to then get into some striking defense and stick with striking defense for today. Wednesday will be all about escaping. So grabs, chokes, wrist locks, bear hugs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to work through all the escapes and different things in the curriculum. So, but today is going to focus on fundamentals, defensive concepts, and basic to advanced striking defense. So just like always, I'm going to give different options throughout the class as far as beginner, intermediate, advanced, or just beginner, advanced, depending on what we're working on. So feel free to use the one that makes sense for you. So if you're just starting out, stick with the beginner stuff. If you're working toward the advanced stuff, you have the option to do that. And then if you're a beginner who's feeling like you're getting the concepts down, you want to try the advanced stuff, it's there for you. Like we said when the post went out this morning, if you have a partner today, it's going to help you. You don't necessarily need a partner. You can practice some of these things on your own, but if you have a partner today, it's going to help a lot. So if mom and dad or brother and sister are free, see if they'll help you out today. We're not going to do anything. You're not going to be throwing them today, unfortunately. That'll be more Wednesday. So we'll worry more today about working those fundamentals. So just having a body there in front of you, throwing strikes at you is just going to benefit you today. So like always, if you're out there, interact with us on chat so we know who you are and who's out there. So feel free to talk to us on chat. We got people monitoring chat. And if you got a question during the class, ask it in chat. Just remember there's a little bit of a delay between what you hear and where we're at. It's about 10 to 15 seconds. So if you ask a question that you want to ask me, they'll stop me and they'll let me know that we got a question in chat. So feel free to interact with us. Ask your questions as we go. But we'll move into it from there. So go ahead and get the living room cleared out if you haven't already. Find yourself a nice spot to work out there. And we'll go ahead and start. So we'll start from a rest position here. So bring the feet together. Bring it up. All right, give yourself about a minute to just kind of move around and warm up a little bit. While we're doing this, I'll take my opportunity to remind you guys that all of our live classes get automatically uploaded to the YouTube channel right after they're posted, or right after they complete. So this class, as well as all the other live streams, will be available on our YouTube channel. And additionally, we have multiple on-demand videos for a variety of different subjects, including yoga, mat yoga, aero yoga. We've got, from the martial arts side, we got stances out there, we got forms out there, and we're going to continue to record those and continue to build that repository. So go out on the channel, check it out, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you're getting notified when we're live or when we post a new video, so that you don't miss anything. But it's all out there on demand for you to watch as many times as you like, and it's a good way to stay fresh and stay current as we're in this time of quarantine. So, all right, so let's just work a quick warm-up like we normally do to start out. So during this process, you can use your own warm-up, whatever you feel like doing there to get your body warm. Or if you're unsure or you just want to follow somebody, you can follow me on the warm-up. So I'm going to start on the right side, put the ball of the foot on the ground, and nice and easy, just rotate. And then we'll switch to the other side. All right, we'll move into the knees, bring the feet together, hands to the knees, bend the knees, nice and easy, just circle. And then the other direction. All right, we'll work our way to the hips. So feet out about shoulder width apart, Hands on the hips, nice and easy. Just rotate the hips. And then go the other direction. All movements are nice and slow and deliberate. Nothing's going fast right now. No jerky motions or any sort of quick twitch motions right now. We're just warming the body up. All right, let's move to the torso. So keep the feet shoulder width apart. Nice and easy, just rotate. And everything's slow, smooth, and deliberate. In this motion, you can hold in one direction if you want. Little pulses here. You can move to the other side. Pulse. It's nice and easy. Just twist and rotate. All right. Let's work a little higher now. So go ahead and just stand natural. Bring your shoulders up, back, drop. Bring them forward, and then just nice and easy. Rotate those shoulders. All right, we'll go the other direction. All right. So we'll work into the elbows. So good, pin the elbows to the body and just rotate the elbows. And other direction. All right, work into the wrist. So open the fingers up, interlock, close the hands, nice and easy. Just rotate at the wrists. All right, good. Shake that out. And then we'll work to the head. So just stand up nice and straight here. Look forward. Take your head, keep your head on the same plane, and just look over to your left slowly. Your head back to center. Look to your right slowly. Staying on the same plane. Back to center. Left again slowly. Back to center. And then right again slowly. And back to center. Good. Straight up in the air. And back to center. Chin to the chest. And back to center. One more time up in the air. Back to center. And chin to the chest. And back to center. We're now going to take your left ear to your left shoulder. Back to center. Right ear to the right shoulder. Back to center. Left ear to the left shoulder. Back to center. Right ear to the right shoulder. And back to center. Nothing stops the production team from working out with us. They got to warm up their head and necks too. All right. The next one they can't necessarily do where they're at, but one day they'll probably just run out from behind the table and do it themselves. All right, so we're going to go into the push-ups now. It's just nice and easy. Find the floor. Now, over the past couple classes, we've been doing maybe different exercises here or the same exercise. This is your opportunity to pick from the different list of push-ups and exercises that you can do, right? So I'm going to do regular just to kind of show that, but you can do any push-ups you want to here. Just bear in mind that you're warming up, so blasting out 20 rapid-fire push-ups is probably not the best idea right now. You're just warming the body up a little bit, so maintaining a slow, consistent pace is going to be best here as you warm up the joints and warm up the body. And you can even do where you start the first 10 on the knees, first 10 on the feet. I'm going to show first 10 on the knees, then show for the second 10 on the feet, just to give a different perspective. But you can do diamond or triangle. You can do knuckle busters, knuckles on the floor, whatever you want to do. You can do one-armed if you're so inclined. Just be careful you're warming up the body. So let's go ahead and hold plank again. If feet aren't you're not quite to your feet yet, you can always start on the knees, just like this here. The big key here is to keep your back 45, right? So if you're kind of tabletopping here, the push-up's going to be really kind of not good form, and it's not going to be good for you to do. So drop the hips 45, keep everything in a nice straight line. This way that you can execute the full push-up while not being on your feet and giving yourself a little bit of strength training there. All right, so go ahead and hold your position here. I'm going to do 10, then move my feet and do another 10. So just kind of follow my pace with whatever push-ups you're working through today. Here we go. Do. Set. And. Us. Yes. Do. Do. Up. Yo. All right. Now we're going to move to our feet. Oh, I'm going to move to my feet. You can change your push-up here. You can keep it the same. It's totally up to you. All right, so here we go. Hunt. Do. Set. Net. Us. Yes. Do. Do. Up. Do. All right. Good. Relax that there. I'm going to move my pack, and then we'll move over to our backs. Maybe. There we go. All right. So move over to our backs now. Same applies here. You can do regular sit-ups. You can do reach for this guy. You can do like wide leg sit-ups where you keep the legs out. Leg lifts, V-ups, roll-up V-ups, whatever you want to do here. We're going to do 20. I'm going to show just the regular sit-up just to give an example of the basic workout. You guys can change it up from there. All right, so we'll go ahead and get in position. Follow my pace here. Again, we're trying to warm up the body, so we don't want to do these like fast and rapid. We want them to be slow and deliberate. All right, there we go. Do. Set. Hit. Yes. Yes. Do. Do. Up. Do. Huh. Do. Sit. Knit. Yes. Yes. Do. Do. Up. Do. All right, good. Now, you can go ahead and make your way to your feet. I'm going to switch my pack one more time. Okay. So, we're going to get right into it here now the body's warmed up a little bit. We're going to start talking about defensive fundamentals. So, the first thing we need to know about defensive fundamentals is that in most cases, it's safer for you to go at an angle than it is to go straight forward or straight back. Obviously, straight forward is unsafe for a lot of reasons. You walk into the punch, right? You're going toward all your attacker's weapons. But going backwards, while that's the natural instinct, eventually you're going to run out of room or into their friend. So generally, going straight backwards is not what you want. You want to get into a position of dominance or a better tactical position than you were in before. So while you may be in a neutral position where you may be fighting stance with your attacker and no one's got one advantage over the other, you don't want to get to a worse position. You want to get to a better one. So sometimes moving straight back is the answer. Most of the time, it's better at moving at an angle. So with that being said, we have a tactic, a drill, if you want to call it, that helps you learn that type of movement. There's a right way and a wrong way to step out to your opponent. So if I'm going toward you as an opponent, and kind of see this on screen, you can kind of see what the difference is. If I was stepping to the left, and if I was stepping at an angle with the left foot, you can see how all of my weapons are still on the inside toward you. right? They're not away from you over here. So all my weapons are to the inside. Same idea if I move to the right side and I move my right leg first, again, all my weapons are on the inside. If I stepped left, but I moved my right leg first, it turns my back. All my weapons go to the outside. I can get taken here pretty easily. Right? Same if I go right with my left leg. Again, I'm showing back here a little bit. Now, sometimes that's necessary, depending on which situation it is, but you want to try not to do that as much as possible. So we have what we call the female triangle and the male triangle, right? And this is actually a Filipino martial arts concept where the female triangle is an advancing triangle. All right, so if you imagine it on the ground in front of you, if you're standing feet together and you look in front of you, there's a V coming out of your feet. So there's a line going left and a line going right at a 45-degree angle. So if you were to walk that triangle, if I wanted to go left, I'd step with my left leg. I'd step on the line of the triangle, bring the foot in, return. Then I can go to the right side of the triangle with the right foot, bring the foot in, and then return. So that's what we consider walking the female triangle, right? So I'm out to the left, and I'm out to the right. Now, notice this is 45, right? That's the norm. In defense, you might go a little less than 45 or a little bit more, but you're not really going to go 90. In most cases. There are cases where 90 makes sense. But for now, we're going to advance. So we're going to step at 45. Now, the big key here is when you step, your fighting stance has an average distance between your feet, right, where you're comfortable, right? So if I'm in fighting stance, I'm no longer comfortable when my feet are this close together, nor am I comfortable if they're this far apart, right? So about here is where I'm comfortable. I want to establish that level of comfort when I step. So, for example, if I want to step, but I want to get a little more behind them, I'm going to step a little wider, but I'm going to let that foot drag. What you don't want to get caught doing is letting the foot there, which just straddles you, or the big mistake of people going out here and bringing the foot all the way in this way, right? So where I'm right next together. That's not what we want, right? We're now vulnerable. There's no stance, there's no defense in there, right? So if I do step wide, I got to let that foot retract with me, come with me. Now, my target's still in the middle of me, so I'm, basically standing a little beside him here, and that's where I want to be. So, but you notice I'm going outside the body, right? There could be a time where I need to go directly forward, but right now we're trying to take the more common defensive step, which is going to be at that 45 angle forward. There is an option if you need to go backwards. All right, so that's the female triangle working forward. The opposite would be the male triangle. So the male triangle is, if you again stood on that same spot, there's a V coming out of your feet going the other direction behind you. So 45 and 45. So now you've got kind of this hourglass shape where you're standing in the middle of it, and you can either walk forward 45 or backward 45. Now, same rule applies here. If I want to go backwards to the left, I want the left leg to go first. If I want to go right to the right side, right leg's got to go first. Because again, if I step right leg, I'm crossing myself. If I step left leg, going right, I'm crossing myself. So I don't want to do that. I want to step backwards left with my left leg, backwards right with my right leg. Now notice I'm not going straight backwards. I'm not going here, right? So what this is going to do to the opponent is, if they're coming in this way, I'm going to step out and be off to the side of them slightly. So that's going to be used if you're trying to bait them in or bring them in or absorbing some of the techniques. You're going to want that little bit of an angle here to help. And again, the angle doesn't always have to be 45. It can be a little tighter than 45, or it can be a little wider. It just depends on what the situation calls for. So it's one thing about defense. Defense is never black and white, right? There's always, the situation calls for these things, and all we're doing is giving you tools so that you have options should the need arise. So what I want you to do at home is try walking this 45 triangle. Now, the key is don't leave the triangle. So don't go 90. Don't go straight forward. Imagine you're kind of on a big log that's sitting straight up, and you got logs going out to your 45 in front, logs going out 45 in the back. Other than that, you're stepping off the logs and you're falling into a pit. All right? Don't fall into a pit. All right? So now normally we'll tell you just to get your footing down, beginners, just walk the line, kind of like a balance beam, right? So step out, step back, step out, step back left, step back in, step back right, step back in. Advanced students, break the habit of bringing the feet together, right? So for you, you're stepping out, letting the foot come in, pushing off, stepping out, pushing off, stepping back, pushing off the back foot, stepping back, pushing off, back foot back to center. All the while trying to keep your feet from coming together, right? Because again, that's a really bad habit to get into. Again, for advanced students, or another thing for advanced students you're going to want to do is not look at the floor. So a lot of you are going to be kind of going here, watching the floor, making sure you're going to the right and left properly. Advanced students trying to look at the floor. Come out this way. Just feel where you are with your 45 steps. All right. Keep your eyes towards your target. Where's your target? Well, if I'm standing in the center, it's directly in front of me. Here. All right. So it'd be directly in front of me. So I'm stepping 45 off to the side of the target, 45 off to the side, 45 back, 45 back. All right. So at home, go ahead and play with that a little bit while I talk about it. So as you're going through, advanced students, if you're finding that you're bringing your feet together, adjust your step, right? So if you're just taking a small step out, you might not need a large movement to get your foot back to center, right? So, or your foot back to proper position. So if you're taking a wide step, you're going to need that slide. But if you're taking a small step, you may not need that slide, right? You may only need to be a little bit of it. Beginners, if you're having trouble staying on those lines or trying to figure out which foot goes first, think about it in your head. If I'm going left, my left foot goes first. If I'm going right, my right foot goes first. Doesn't matter whether you're going forward or back. If I'm going left, my left foot's got to move first. If I'm going backwards left, my left foot still needs to move first. If I'm going to the right, my right foot moves first, whether I'm going forward or whether I'm going back. All right, so run through that a couple more times. And keep in mind where your target is in this process, right? So they're still in front of you. If you're stepping off to the side, they're still to your side. So imagine where they are in this process, right? Don't put them right in front of you again. Keep them where they were, because that's where they're going to stay during combat, right? So we're going to have to know that and react to that. Okay, so that's kind of a fundamental movement for defense. Most of the time when you're doing defense, that's going to be your first action, is to step off to the side. Step off to the side. Whether you're attacking or defending, you're most likely going to be stepping off to the side. Why? Well, because we want to avoid the attack, right? They're not just going to stand there and look at us. They're going to do something. They're putting us at, they're attacking. So we've got to do something. We don't want to get hit by it. And the blocks or the redirections that we're doing are not necessarily our only line of defense, right? I want my primary line of defense to be my movement. This is just insurance that I don't take that hit. So just something to think about when you're going through. That block is insurance. It's not your primary defensive mechanism, right? That movement, you should be out of the way of the attack, using that block to make sure it doesn't come back to you, and also to redirect it where you want it to go for your follow-up. All right, so that's fundamental movement for defense. As far as concepts go, control distance, right? So you need to know where they are, how far away they are from you, and don't let them get any closer or any further away than you want them to be, right? So that's all done through movement, through manipulative balance, through a lot of different actions to keep them where you want them to be. If you don't know where they are from a distance perspective, you don't know how much damage their attack can do, right? So if you don't know that if you think they're out of range, but they're not, they're going to hit you with a surprise attack, right? So you have to control distance in the fight, always. So you always have to be in control of where they are and where you are. One of the other things is just a general awareness, right? Do they have a weapon? Do they not have a weapon? Do they have a friend? Do they not have a friend? What's around you? What's your surroundings, right? is there an exit where you are, right? Because, you know, if you're going to fight this opponent, do you want to fight them? I mean, are they, you know, is it someone your size or is it someone 6 times your size? If you have the ability to retreat, retreat. Go from there. But if you don't have that ability and you need to stand and fight, you got to know what their weaknesses might be, right? So just knowing that, knowing your situation, knowing your surroundings helps with that process. Okay, so we talked about concepts, we talked about movement. Let's get into some drills and do some work. So Ron, if I could. Ron's my partner for today. So I told you all I have a partner. I got my partner here. So what we're going to be doing is talking about just general strike defense, right? But we're going to break this down into parts. So the first step of any defensive movement is to not get hit. That's pretty important. You get hit, you recover, and you work from there, right? But hopefully you recover. Hopefully you recover quickly. But first thing we got to worry about is not getting hit. So we're going to talk about those movements and see what they do against an attacker, right? So if he just stands still here, right? This is the setup for the male-female triangle, right? He's in front of me. I'm on the point of the triangle, or I'm on the middle of the hourglass, right? So I've got 45s in front, 45s in back. So I can step forward here, putting me to the side of him, right? Other side, same thing. Or I can be going backwards, again, getting off that straight line, but I'm still in front of him, right? But I've now distanced myself, right? So I know I'm out of range for most punches. He might sneak a kick in there if he can move into it or throw it with the rear leg. But I'm managing this distance from here, right? Same thing if I go the other direction, I'm here. Now, when we start talking about blocking and redirecting, you're going to start seeing, like I said, that this is just more of an insurance policy, right? So if he's in stance, if he's ready to attack, we're going to do everything from neutral here, all right? You'll ask, what do I do? What do I do with my hands? Well, we'll start here, right? This is passive. This is I don't want hurt, but this is defensible, right? What I don't want to do is do this because they're grabbable. That's just giving him all my fingers, which is awful. And I don't really want to do this right away because again, now I'm aggressive, right? So I'm showing basically that I'm passive, but notice my foot. My foot's out, right? I don't really want to stand like this, to be honest with you. I'm going to get knocked over. So I'm going to put a lead foot out there if I want this lead foot. Now, I'm reading his stance, right? I could have this foot out, it doesn't matter. Or I could stay stable or standard here, but I don't really want to do that. I'm going to put a little bit of a lead foot out, and I'm here. But I'm still passive, right? This is, I don't want to fight, right? And the whole time I'm talking, I'm going to be walking and putting distance and seeing if he's going to follow me or not. Because if he's going to follow me, I know I'm pretty much in the altercation already. Just making sure he doesn't have friends back here and I'm walking into, right? Walking into like a Fight Club scene or something. So I'm going to start from here. Now he's going to just basically step and punch, straight up step and punch, putting my head back into the mirrors. You can't see them, but back over into the mirrors. So that's what your partner's going to do to you. They're going to step and they're going to punch right in the chops, right there. All right. So I don't know about you, but I don't want that, right? So I need a way to get away from that. So if he's imagining that punch is going to hit me in the face and I step out, well, he didn't hit me in the face, but I went toward him, right? I got off to that angle. Now, I'm doing this for dramatic effect and so that you can see the movement on camera and I don't cover up his motion, right? So I'm keeping my hands down, but as he moves, as he's coming to punch me, I'm going straight out to the side of him here. Now, I would never have my hands down here, but just to show it, just so you can see it. So again, from here, I'm here, right? My hands are still up here because now I can start to react and attack from here. So, but we'd be kind of foolish to rely on that. Just that movement, right? Because if I make a mistake or he reads it and starts coming into my face, I'm going to get hit. So the first thing we're going to do is work on two different types of blocks, a beginner and advanced, right? So the beginner version of this is using the inside middle block here. Okay? So in combat's perspective, we're going to step to here. Now, notice where I'm hitting. I'm hitting forearm to forearm or to the elbow. Well, I like the elbow just from the attack perspective, but I'm using my forearm here. A lot of people get in the habit right away, and it's so bad, of doing this and grabbing with the hand. You got to realize, if I come down here, I have a lot of margin for error. I don't have much margin for error with my hand. I can jam my fingers, jam my hand back. A lot of bad things can happen, or I can just miss it entirely. So, especially when you're starting out and even advanced, use the forearm. It's there to help, right? You want best chance of success. So, from here, as he's coming in, I'm going out here. Now, notice from here where I'm at. I'm not way far away from him leaning in like this. I'm right off the side of him. You can't really see it because the camera's over there, but look at this. This hand's right here. There's my shot. Right? I can work real quick in there with a quick rib shot. The cool part about that is I don't have to wait till after I block. Right? If I'm here, I can come straight in and hit the rib right away. Or not. Depends on what I want to do. So, we're going to start there. Now, beginners, you can do the inside forearm block. Advanced or beginners, if you want to try this, rear outside forearm block. Notice I said rear outside forearm. So outside forearm would be here. A rear outside forearm would be here. This is one of my favorites. So instead of coming with this arm, I'm going to replace it with this one. Okay? So from here, I'm going to step in to here. Now, again, forearm, not hand, not down here, forearm. If I want my hand involved, I just slide down. Now I got my hand involved. Right now I need this. Now, notice where my arm is. It's kind of pinching. Not gripping, but pinching in toward my ribs. I don't want this thing to be way up here because he can work through that. He can just run his arm through that. I can't really hold him there. Right? Then he's going to hit me, which is not good. But I'm going to pin this to the body. If he does try to resist that, that arm has a little more to work with. And then I'm going to work with him to start moving into a different position. I'm going to use that energy to move. So your options are either out to here where I use the inside middle block, or I use the outside forearm block. Up to you, all right? But go ahead and play that at home with your partner, and go slow. Nobody wants to take a shot to the chops. Well, some parents might want it, but it's up to you guys. All right, so take it slow. Take it slow. Go through it a couple times. I'm going to talk about some detail while we're going through this. So go ahead. As you're going through this, stance is super important. So as you're moving, that's a front stance, right? So what you don't want to do is step out, bring those feet together, or step out straight-legged and have nothing to work with, because that's a dead zone of that stance. That's going to really put you in a bad spot. So when you're stepping either way, you're stepping into that front stance, right? Stable front stance here. You got to know where that punch is coming before you're reacting to it. So if the punch is going low, you might have to come a little lower with that block, right? What you don't want to do is start blocking things with your hands or your elbow, right? You want that forearm involved. So you're going to have to read where that punch is level-wise and find it. And again, remember what we talked about. No elbows on the outside forearm block, no elbows going either direction, right? It's straight underneath. If that elbow is pointing out, that's weak, right? So that's why I like to form it to the rib, start to form toward the rib. This way everything is kind of stacked in line so that it's a little stronger to resist anything that might come in. Now, if they're pushing on you, you go. You follow that energy. You don't stay there and just try to fight them on it. Push, go with them, right? So as they're pushing, you're going to work with them and drag them into that bad position that they don't want to go into, right? That's a way you control distance. You control their balance, all right? So do it on both sides. I didn't mention that as we go. So keep going, but do it on both sides. So if you haven't switched sides yet, switch sides. You got two arms, you got two legs, you got to use them. All right, so as you're going through this as well, keep your eyes to your opponent. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I'll see people, they'll block and their head will be looking the direction they're going, not the direction of their opponent. Well, the last thing I want to do is take my eyes off my opponent. I don't know about you guys. I'm not good enough to fight my opponent and not look at him yet. I'm getting there. I'm not there yet. I still got to have my eyes on the guy. So as I'm blocking, I'm watching, my eyes are on him. right, at all times. If I need to take my eyes off of him to look at my surroundings, I'm going to do that when I'm safe. But I'm not safe that close to him, right? I'm safer than being at punch distance, but I'm still not 100% safe. Okay, so let's stop there a second. Let's talk about what happens next, right? So we defended the outside attack, but what do you do now? You know, I mean, congratulations. You got to here, he punched, you went, oh no, ha! And now you stand there, and you go, what do I do next? As he breaks your jaw. Well, I got to have another option. I got to do something else. I can't just stand there and look at him. So what's our next step? Well, you have a lot of different steps from there, right? The first thing you can do is you can disengage. If you're done, or you don't want to cause damage, or you have an exit strategy, and all you need to do is block that first punch, disengage. Come off the punch and disengage. Or you can strike and disengage. So from here, you can come out, strike, and disengage. Or you could get even worse. You can come from here, break, strike, disengage. But notice on each action, when I'm done, when my last technique is done, whatever I'm doing, I'm 3 steps away from him. Right? None of my techniques ever stopped. If I was here, oh no, break, hit, okay, I'm going to get hurt. That's a bad habit. And he would like nothing more. So I'm never going to stop a defensive. And that's the thing when you're doing martial arts with friends, with students that you've worked with for a long time, with partners you've worked with for a long time, you get to be friends and you get to be comfortable. Right? And Ron and I'll joke around and we'll go, oh, I'm out here and, oh man, that was horrible. I really messed that. I was standing here totally out of defense and just standing there talking to him. I messed that up. Can we try that again? We'll try it again. If you make a mistake, it ought to be, oh man, I really messed that up. But you're clearing, because you make a mistake in a real fight, your instinct's going to be, oh, I messed that up. And you're going to stand there, and then you're going to be vulnerable. So, best practice, get away from them. So, what do we do next? Well, you have options. So, beginner perspective, block, strike. What do I got? Well, I got the back here, right? Kidneys are available, right, from here. Now, don't do the hook punch here yet. Your body's not quite set for it. So what I like to do is switch the feet, strike forward, right? I might be able to hit the back of the ribs from here. If I want the ribs, I'm probably going to have to come underneath this way with the hook this direction. I can go for the head, but I don't want to just go for the head here. I want to drop this arm down, right? So if I defend high, I want to drop this arm down and go for the head here, right? So I've got something to punch. So that's stuff you can do. You could, from here, as you're coming here, you can go for that knee if you needed to. That's a high damage technique. You got to know that, especially from a reprisal perspective. Here, or work whatever. My next thing better be here, and I better be, before I relax, I'm out this far away. All right. So now work on your counters. All right, so I gave you a couple options there. Very simple options to more advanced options with the split entry. Play with that a little bit at home. See what you get. This is where I wish I had video cameras everywhere, because I can just see parents' kids have been home for a little while. You know. We'll do the chokes. Yeah, on Wednesday when we do the chokes.
Have a ball.
Yeah, your time has come. But when you're going through this, be aware of everything about yourself the moment you're taking that impact. So everything from your stance to your posture to your hip position to where on the body you're taking the impact, where the block is happening. The state of your hands, are they open or closed? The state of your opponent, are they off balance? Are they secured? Is their hip position out of alignment? Are they in alignment? Are they vulnerable to a sweep? Are they vulnerable to an attack? Et cetera, right? So we have a lot of different options, or a lot of different things to look at. But you want to take a quick mental picture of all that as you're going through this, because if you don't know those things, your next attack's ineffective. And you don't want to just follow a pattern. I'm not a real big proponent. I do like drills. I like doing drills, you 1, 2, 3, and then slide out because it gives you something to work through. But putting a pattern together and doing it in combat, it's not going to play real well. Because, again, you can't do defense by a playbook, right? You got to have things that your body's reacting to, but you also have to be able to assess the situation and react accordingly. So I'd rather you have action-reaction drills than 4 or 5 movement drills, right? I'd rather you have okay, I'm coming in with a punch to your face, and you're going out here. All right, well, that's one reaction. I'm going to, come in with a hook, and I'm going to go straight in on you. You're reacting to their action. I'd rather you do that than, okay, well, we block, punch, 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 come out, right? We'll do that, but I'd rather you work action-reaction. Okay, let's come back and let's talk about a different set of movements now, right? So we talked about 45 in. Let's talk about 45 out, right? So the male triangle now. So same punch, right? He's going to come in, he's going to hit me. But now I'm taking a 45 angle out, right? Notice the distance that put us in. Previously, and I'm going to step to the inside of the body here just for camera purpose. Previously we were going here, right, where we're stepping 45 toward him. Notice the distance I'm at now, right? But now we're talking about stepping 45 out. Look at the distance difference here. So with a change in distance come a change in tactic. Now you have a different set of techniques you've got to use, right? So what can I do here? Well, how am I evading this technique first, all right? Luckily, the evasion here is a little easier. We just step out. As long as I'm not here, I'm going to keep my hands up to keep myself protected, but other than that, I'm not really worried about a block or maintaining contact at this point because I'm controlling the distance by distancing myself out of the technique, right? So from here, as I'm getting attacked, I'm going out, right here. Now, I like contact, so I'm gonna naturally want to go to that, but you don't have to. Now, what can I do here? Because I'm going to let you play with this one a little bit. What can I do here? Well, I can step out and strike if I needed to. I can step out, let him get to the apex of his punch and pull, right? See the angle there, right? And he did the natural thing. He's going to fall into it. But I know what the next action is. I'm forcing the next action. When he steps to that first technique and I go out here and I start bringing him in, that's going to come. I know that. That's the point. I know it, and I'm going to react to it. Again, action, reaction, right? So as I'm going out here and I'm pulling him in with that, I'm going to let this go by me. Where's he go, right? He goes off camera. I keep forgetting that edge is the camera edge. So them having a second attack is a good thing. Because most of the time, if you know what it is, you're in a great position, right? So you're stepping on the male triangle, either in toward the body, or either in the inside of the body, or to the outside of the body. Here. Now notice what stance I'm going into. Cat stance. Makes the most sense here for me. Because if I decide to move forward, I can do that real easily. Or if I want to kick, I can do that real easily too. So I like cat stance here. That's just my personal preference, right? I like going here. As opposed to stepping out and keeping the foot, keeping the weight on the front leg. It takes my head out of the area too. All right? So I want you at home to experiment a little with this. I want you at home to experiment a little with this. Do the movement, male triangle, but then throw some counters in there, see what you get. And then while you're doing that, I'll pontificate on some detail real quick. Again, in this case, this is a new distance, right? So we've been talking about getting real close. Now we're talking about getting real far away. My big saying in defense when I always do it is you're either in their pocket or in a different state. You're never in the middle. The more you're in the middle, the more at risk you are. When you're in the middle, it's all about making a mistake. Who missed the first block? Who took the first attack? I don't like those odds, right? I want to get out of this with minimal damage to myself and really minimal damage to my opponent, but I'm going to do as much as I need to do to get safe. So I want to be in a point where I'm in control, where they don't have any control over the situation. And that means I'm either going to have to be real close or real far away, where I can determine the distance, right? So again, controlling the distance keeps you in a better position. Additionally, when you're moving at that angle, remember not to cross, right? So what I don't want to do is step back and bring my foot at an angle, because now I'm going to cross toward. So if I'm toward you guys and I step at a 45, but I bring the foot sort of in front of my other leg, now I'm crossed to the target, right? So I want to maintain that same attention toward the target and not cross my feet up in the process. So that's a big thing some people tend to do on the male triangles. They like to drag that foot across the body a little bit. So don't let that scoot across the body there. Keep it at that same 45 angle. Okay. So we moved forward at a 45. We moved backward at a 45. So now I'm going to do the thing that I said would be dumb in the beginning. And that is I'm going to go straight at him. Now, the first thing we're going to do is change the attack. Because on a straight punch, I'm not going straight at him. That's just dumb, right? I'm not going to go straight at him. Even if I can block that technique out of the way, I'm still going 45 to make sure if I miss or I screw up, I don't get hurt. So at this point, we're now changing the attack to a hook, right? So they're going to step in with a hook punch. This technique is the common one, right? It's the one that's all the media ever shows, the big haymaker hooks from the bar fights and stuff like that. And it's a little cliched, but it works because a lot of times this is the technique that makes the most sense to people. Well, the more force I put behind my arm, or the more I swing my arm, the harder it's going to be. But a lot of times nowadays with the combat sports being seen on TV and things like that, they've changed it from this wide angle hook to more of an over top, like a real tight hook, and it's becoming a little more pinpoint, a little more dangerous. So there's that. We're going to talk about the hook. So here's the thing about the hook. He's a strong dude. I'm not going to play strength games with him. I've been hit by Ron's hooks before. I'm playing strength games with him. I'm not going to block his hook. I like the block where they stand and the hook's coming in and they just go, no! Like a LARP session defiance thing. Nope, that wasn't enough to knock me down. Nope, that was only 20 damage, not 30. I don't LARP, by the way, but I've heard that joke before, so I'm going to put it out there. I'm not going to play that game with him because bad things are going to happen to me. If any arm gives in that, or he's got more force behind it than I think he does, day's over. I'm still taking 50 to 60% of the hits. Better than all of it, but I still don't want that. So what are my options? Well, from here, I could duck underneath it and come up and start fighting all that kind of stuff. It's a good option. I'm looking for something a little bit more immediate and a little bit more shock and awe type of thing than I am trying to duck and evade and play the game with him. I could, if he's coming in with the hook, I could go out here, force him to reach a little bit, and put myself in the same position I did with the straight punch. We have another option. We're going to go straight into him. So if he's doing a hook and I step straight in, look where I'm at. I'm right here. I'm right inside the hook punch. Where's his hook punch? It's past me now. Great. That's a little better. Now you say, well, you can put it in a headlock. Yeah, yes, he could. That's why I'm not going in passively. I'm not just going to step into, hi! Step in and go to his shoulder. I'm going to attack. Whether that's by stepping in and striking with the hand, whether that's with the elbow, or whether that's attacking the shoulder and trying to jar the body. Either way, I'm giving some sort of offensive attack as I'm moving into the body. This meets all the rules, right? Getting in their pocket as opposed to being at punch distance. I'm evading that attack. My primary movement, or my primary defense mechanism here is the movement. I'm not getting hit. The hands are now just an insurance policy. So take a look. As I'm using the hands here, just note this hand is still here. It's not here to strengthen it out and everything like that. It's to make sure that that thing doesn't hook hard in and come back at me. Right? So it's monitoring that. And I feel that I can move. I can work with him. Right? So, but I'm going to come in. My personal favorite, and I'll show this to you just from a beginning perspective. You're moving close to him anyway. Use the elbow. It's better than the hand. So what am I going to do? I'm going to hug the side of my head. If you remember I can't remember if we talked about shield blocking or not. I'm pretty sure we did. Talking about coming here, guarding on top of yeah, we did. This is the day we were hitting with remember guys, we were hitting with the pads, beating each other up with the pads, and you were shield blocking. That's what you're going to do, except you're going to lead with the point of your elbow like a spear. So hands coming up, right? Gripping the back of the head, not the ear, here, right? And all you're doing is you're driving the elbow forward into the body. Now, where I'm hitting right now, that's where I kind of want to be. I could hit lower, go into the ribs, things like that, but I don't want to bend my body down, so I want to come up here, right? And now I'm hitting right into the neck here, which is not comfortable. If I'm real precise and I'm pinpointing, I can go into the clavicle too, right? Put a little damage into the clavicle. I have that option. Well, that's how we're going to stop this. So be careful with your partner. They were nice enough to help you today. Don't beat them up, all right? So they're going to throw the big step-in hook, going right for the jawline, right? They're going to try to hit your jawline. That thing's coming in, whack, owie, done. That's going to hurt. I don't want that. So again, I'm moving straight in, using the elbow as my attack. Now note, again, I'm up here, right? I'm working in the crease of the arm, so I can control that a little bit better. I don't want to be out here because I'm going to slide in the crease of the arm anyway. And I can attack there's pressure points and things in the arm. I ain't worry about that right now. I'm defending. I'm trying not to get hurt, right, one way or the other. So I'm in here. Now, when I'm in here, I have to know that I'm not done. I've got other things I need to do here, right? Because he's got another hand. This hand is still there, but I'm hoping that he's fallen back a little bit out of this so that I can come in and start to work if I need to. But again, from there, you're stepping out. You're distancing yourself away. All right? So go ahead, play with this at home a little bit with your partner. Oh, you know what I haven't been talking about? If you don't have a partner, what do? You practice the motion. Imagine them in front of you. I'm passive. Imagine them in front of you. Okay, so he's coming with a hook to hit me here. I'm going straight line, not at a 45. I'm going straight line in here. Then what do? Well, I don't know. I have a lot of different options, right? I hit here. I can step off, go straight in. I can grab them as they're moving away. Shift in the knee. A lot of different options, right? But you can play with some of those things if you use your imagination a little bit, but you can. But if you have a partner, it's obviously a little easier to work with a person. And feel free to try some different options, right? So maybe that last time you just did it, you went in with the elbow. Maybe try the duck now. Maybe try that as that punch is coming in, you're going up underneath it. The big key there for me is you got to come back to a stance. You can't just you're gonna want to stand here, wait for the punch. That's another reason I don't like it, because you're waiting for the punch. If you're waiting for that punch to come in, you're gonna sidestep and you're gonna end up here, and it's not good for me, right? So what I want to do there is, if I am going to do that, I'm going under and I'm establishing a stance right away, some sort of stance, something that's going to work for me there. Then I'm going to start attacking or distancing out, depending on what I want to do. So, yeah. Again, it's about crossing, right? So watch which foot you're going in with. Make sure your weapons are in front of you, not shielded out by your back. All right. So just be aware of where you're going. I'm going to let you play about another minute in this drill, and then we're going to talk about one fundamental concept that I didn't cover in the fundamentals section, but I want everybody to know, because for striking distance, or striking defense, and escapes, things like that, this is a very important thing to know. So take a couple more seconds, play with that one a little bit. Go do a last one there. Give you a second just to do a last one. It's hard to judge time when you can't see them. All right, so let's come back real quick and let's talk about one more concept. And that's the concept of inside the body, outside the body. Open the body, close the body. All right? This is a concept where it makes sense from a, it makes sense when you think about it, but it's kind of hard to implement in combat sometimes because you get caught in places you don't really want to be. If I stuck my arms out, I'm drawing a line. If you're inside my hands, you're inside the body. If you're outside my hands, I can't clap my palms together behind me, but if you're outside my hands, you're outside my body, right? So this is my line here. If I'm turned to one side, you're inside my body, you're outside my body, right? If you are moving my hand, you're opening my body, right? Exposing more of the inside of my body, or you're closing my body, exposing more of the outside of the body, all right? It's very important for you to know where you're going and what your block, your defensive action is going to do. Because closing the body is generally safer. We don't have arms on our backs. So it's kind of nice to go that way so that you're not going after the back, or you're not going after the inside of the body where all the weapons are. But it also eliminates some targets and the ability to do some things from a reaction perspective. So if you close the body, you need to know what to do when the body's closed. If you open the body, there's a present that no one wants, right? So let's say he's going for a step punch. He's going to do a step punch, and I'm coming out here and I'm blocking this way. Well, look at that hand. That's the present no one wants. I'm walking right into it. I mean, walking right into it. If I cut a close angle on that, I'm literally walking right into his hand. So that's bad. That's the present no one wants. And it's waiting for you. So if you're going to step to the inside of the body, there's additional things you need to do to protect yourself. Right? So what can I do? Well, I can step out and check this hand as I go. Find it. Work with it. I can see it there. And I'm stepping a little extra deep so I can get behind it slightly. And then I can start working from here if I need to. I can control this as I go. Right? You could wait for it to fire. I don't like that. But you could work in here, wait for it to come, and then work around it if you needed to. But again, that's assuming they throw it. They may not. They may throw this to the other hand again. Because you turned all your focus to that back hand, and that front hand's still there waiting for you. You could also use the 90 step. So remember I said there's some situations that call for it. If I'm going to step to the inside of the body, I can work 90 so I can still see this hand. I'm still distance away from it. And then I can either wait for it, or I can just start kicking from here and not worry about it. I got options, right? 90 step to the inside of the body has a real good side kick setup, right? So I can come out here and just side kick right to the open side of the body if I wanted to. But just know that that's an option. So, all right. I appreciate it, Rowan. Thank you very much. It's good to bow to your partner. This way you don't have to shake their hand or anything like in today's world. But all right, so that covers a very small amount of defensive fundamentals. If we had more time, we would talk about other additional concepts and things like that, the support leg versus stabilizing leg, all that good stuff. Right now, that's all you need. That's really a fundamental view. So you're looking at no cross steps, right? The direction you're moving, that's the leg that goes first in most cases. 45 is typically better than 90 in most cases for a step to put you in a safer position. And you always want to position a better position than you were in before, not one that is net none or worse than where you were. And then every time you step, you're always in some sort of stance. You've got to be in a stance of some kind. You can't just put your feet on the ground and hope for the best. And then your movement is your primary defensive mechanism. Your hands are just making sure you don't get hit, right? Making sure it's a little bit of an insurance policy. So if any of that was difficult or didn't quite make sense, go back, watch it again, and again, and again, and again. That's how you learn this stuff. I mean, it's about 16 years for the both of us, and it's still coming together, right? It's always going to, for the rest of our lives, we're going to be learning new things. So this is not something that happens overnight. So you have the option right now of watching this thing again right after it's over, tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening, whatever, you have the option to play this again and work on your fundamentals. And these are good for everybody, including you advanced belts that are out there. Don't catch yourself going through the motions of this. Work on this stuff, because this is the stuff in your test that's going to get hit hard. And trust me when I say it will be put under a microscope. I promise. And you might be put in some bad situations that you're going to have to work your way out of. So fundamentals are going to be key for you. So review this lesson more than once. Just a little hint for all of you out there that are working toward advanced belts. But that's it. So appreciate everybody joining us today. This will be up right after this stream ends, so feel free to go out and watch it again and again. Check out the on-demand videos that are out there as well. And keep bringing us suggestions. Keep sending us suggestions for content. We already know what Wednesday is going to be, but we got plenty more classes after that to record. So just feed us some suggestions. Tell us what you want to see. We're going to do our best to accommodate everybody. So appreciate you all joining me. I'm Corey with CVMA. We'll see you again next time.